course it is. I want to do Kings trade stuff.
Okay.
And Mark Stein, in his Substack, had some reporting that pushed back on your reporting, R.E. Cam Johnson.
Sort of pushback, but yeah, go ahead.
So we can go through all that. What does it mean for the Kings? What did he report? What's real, what's not? We can go through all that. My question is, when and where are we going to beat the crap out of Mark Stein for this? I'm ready to throw hands.
I'm not flying to Dallas. Well, we'll get an opportunity if we go to All-Star Weekend in a couple of.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see you at All-Star Weekend, Mark.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm joking. Mark Stein does a great job at his Substack. Go subscribe while you're subscribing to the Kings Beat at thekingsbeat.com. Okay, go ahead, James.
Yeah. So I don't actually like whatever Mark said yesterday. We can go through it right now. This is from Mark Stein. The Sacramento Kings have been frequently mentioned this month as an aggressive trade suitor for the Nets sharpshooter Cam Johnson, but league sources told the Stein line on Wednesday that there have been no discussions between the Kings and Nets regarding Johnson for weeks. Sort of say that the Kings at this juncture do not see a pathway to a workable Johnson deal with the Nets. There's obviously still time for that to change with 2 weeks left. Okay, so look, whether it's today, whether it's the last week, whether it's 3 weeks ago, it doesn't matter. The Kings and Nets have exactly what I said. They understand what the other one wants.
Okay.
And they have a very clear image of what they're willing to go, what they're willing to give up, and what they're not. And it's the same thing. They had negotiations before the Dorian Finney-Smith trade with the Nets about Finney-Smith, from what I know. And they've had conversations about Cam Johnson with that team multiple times. Like whether it happened 3 days ago, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But whether it happened 3 weeks ago, it's still, they both know exactly what the other one wants in a trade. And so they have an impasse, and that's why there has not been a trade.
Right.
Which is exactly what I said. There's like,
and at some point, discussions are going to stop when you reach that point of, this is, if you're the Nets, like, this is our floor for Cam Johnson.
Yep.
And the Kings go, well, this is our ceiling for Cam Johnson. And if those two things don't match up, there's no need to stay on the horn trying to talk one another off this.
Of course. Of course. And like, again, we're talking about, from what I know, draft compensation. And the Kings aren't willing to go where they want to go. And so the Kings have said, hey, like, is there not a pathway forward? Okay, maybe there's not a pathway forward today, but the NBA, everything changes from one day to the next. I mean, 12 games ago, the Kings had a different head coach, and we're 5 games under 500. Like, the world comes at you fast in the NBA. And for me, like, look, it's still the same exact story that it has been with the Nets. The Kings and Nets cannot come to a common ground. If there was a common ground, it would have happened a month ago, because that's when it was like super hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Like, this could happen anytime. And then all of a sudden, like, got super quiet. Like, whether they've talked in the last week or not, I don't know. And like, whether Evan Sittery's report that there's a plan A and a plan B, like, I don't know. I haven't been told that there's a plan A and a plan B.
Honestly, you'd hope there is, and maybe a plan C and a plan D and a plan E.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So when we write about the potential for Cam Johnson to come to Sacramento, it's because there are reports out there. And like, I have knowledge that they have had conversations multiple times about this specific player. Like, the fact whether, again, they've talked in the last couple of weeks or not. We can have some conversations on what that means and what that doesn't mean.
Sure.
Like,
that's semantics.
Yeah, it is semantics.
My favorite idea here is the Kings not having a plan B. And Monty and Wes going, all right, well, couldn't come to an agreement with the Nets. Okay, thanks, Nets. All right, we'll see you. All right, we're done.
Oh, man. All of our hopes and dreams.
A went down the drain. Now
all
what
of
do
our
we
hopes
do?
and dreams.
Ugh.
Yeah. And I think, like, sort of the last thing that Stein says on this, word is that Sacramento is actively engaged with other teams on separate trade concepts. Yes. I mean, that's why
Concept of a plan.
why you hear John Collins' name come up. It's why you hear Kyle Kuzma's name come up. It's why the Kings have been attached to different people. It's why the betting lines on certain players landing in Sacramento are higher than others, because there are conversations that happen all the time. And I fully expect them to have conversations. And like, look, there could very well be a deal that none of us have seen that or thought of, like conceptualized, that all of a sudden happens. And you're like, where did that come from?
Right.
I mean, that's a Sabonis deal. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like, we're sitting here watching, we're Ben Simmons watch, like, what's going to happen? Like, all this stuff. Are they going to give up Fox? Are they not going to give up Fox? Is Harrison Barnes going there? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, Domantas Sabonis, Sacramento Kings. We had heard rumor of it like 4 months earlier,
right?
But it had really gone dormant. So that's where it's like a lot of this is the same thing.
And to that point, that could happen with Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
Maybe the Nets are like, hey, we need a one, but maybe they get to February 6th at 11:58 a.m. Pacific time, 2 minutes before the deadline, and then they go, all right, well, nobody's even offering a first, so we'll call the Kings and see if they'll do top X protected.
Yeah.
And the Kings go, great, done.
Yeah. Well, that and like the Kings are very limited in what they can offer. I mean, sure, they can do unprotected picks. They, the initial conversations, from what I had heard, was that Brooklyn was looking for 2 first-round picks. Maybe that's still the case, but we talked a little bit about this, yesterday, about the report that came out. I think it was 2 nights ago, where at one point the Wizards were looking for 2 first-round picks for Kyle Kuzma, and then last season they were looking for a first-round pick for Kyle Kuzma. And now, right now, where you sit, they'll be lucky to get a second-round pick for Kyle Kuzma. They'll be lucky to get it.
Yeah.
And get out from underneath the contract. And that's because Kyle Kuzma has not played all that well. But, hey, don't cross him off your list. There's always a possibility the Kings go back one more time to the Kyle Kuzma experience. And because he's clearly at a point where he would like to start somewhere new. And
we didn't even talk about the DAP with Vivek at midcourt the other day.
Well, if you're going to go dap up
Sunday,
if you're going to go dap up an owner and show everybody 17,000 fans plus cameras that you're going to go dap up an owner, you probably shouldn't go 3 of 15, fall down like 4 times in the middle of the court, and turn the ball over 4 times.
Yeah, you got to play better.
Well, I mean, that's the problem.
And after the game, he was like, "No, it's non-basketball stuff." Like, da da da. If you were going to do that,
yeah.
If I was Damian Barley, D'Lo and KC coming up at noon. I love the idea that somebody's listening to this program and doesn't know who D'Lo and KC are. D'Lo and KC, the homies, right?
Yeah.
That's like, if I was going to come in here, if I didn't work here, and I just wanted to say hi to D'Lo and KC, if I was trying to make a show of the fact that I'm in Sacramento, I would come in here during their show. I'd dap them up on their show. I'd say, hey, all right, I got to go. You could easily just wait in the hallway, wait underneath the arena, or in this case, outside of the studio.
Yeah.
And say hi to him. Be like, hey, guys, just really wanted to say hi. Good to see you. We have this great relationship. Hey, what's up? When you make a show of it, like you said, in front of cameras, in front of 17,000 people, in front of media, both Wizards and Kings media, you're doing that on purpose.
Well, of course. And just like, they're so close that he turned down the Sacramento Kings 2 summers ago and decided to go back to Washington, where he knew the team was going to be bad, and chose to go and play there.
Right. And was I hate doing this. Did I make up in my brain that there was a rumor, or on draft night they were like really close to acquiring Kyle Kuzma?
There's always a rumor that they're really close to acquiring. I mean, they had him.
Was that not a thing? Like on draft night, there was like,
there were rumors around
there was like
draft
reports
day
all around
that that they might have been back into conversations with the Wizards for Kyle Kuzma. But again, go back to, like, they had Buddy Hield traded to the Lakers for Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell. Like, it was a done deal,
man.
And the Wizards,
what a
swept
sliding doors moment,
and brought Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. That like, literally the deal was done.
I forgot Russell Westbrook played for the Wizards.
Yeah. Well, then he played for the Lakers, and Buddy Hield was later traded to. Well, I don't even remember where Buddy was traded to. Oh, Indiana.
That's right.
Yeah. But again, that was like a moment in time where like Kyle Kuzma has been attached to the Kings forever. But look, not everybody in the Kings organization, for what I know, likes the idea of Kyle Kuzma.
Sure.
The players, like I've heard, do like the idea of Kyle Kuzma, or at least there's enough players in there that like Kyle Kuzma. And like, yeah, we would take Kyle. That's fine. But there's also people that are like, the analytics on this dude are awful.
Right.
Awful.
Right.
So why are we going to get a super inefficient player? And then he shows up and looks exactly like,
right. Which matters. Which matters.
Oh, yeah.
Comes into your arena. If you're the front office and you've got different people in the front office, maybe you're split 50-50.
Yeah.
And he comes out and plays the game he played on Sunday. That 50-50 yes, no is more like 80-20 no, yes.
Yeah.
That stuff matters.
It's like if you were to, like, for Christmas, buy your kid a car and you walk outside, everyone's all excited and like all the tires are flat and the car doesn't turn over and you're like, hey, thanks, Dad. I mean, because that's where I think a lot of Kings fans are at this point, like looking at Kuzma, like, has anyone else looked at his numbers? Has anyone else watched him play?
Yeah.
Now we got to see him play the one time a year we get to see him in Sacramento. And it was like, yeah.
3 years, a long time. He won a championship 5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that and I'll just say it right, like super clear. We all watch Kyle Kuzma on a bad losing team, and everyone can say, oh, well, he's playing for the Washington Wizards. You know who else plays for the Washington Wizards? Jonas Valanciunas, and he busted your ass up.
Yep.
That's what you look like if you want to step out on the court and like be part of something and show people that, you know, like that you want to be part of a different organization. Hey, get me out of here. You go out there and put up 23 and grab 11 rebounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jordan Poole's trying too. Having a heck of a year.
Nope.